Will the Delegate Assembly please come to order? Could you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. We're going to have a PBS. Please look over the minutes while we hear our law enforcement report.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, Century Village. Two things before I get into the crime reports and the traffic reports for May. I just want to again remind everyone, hurricane preparedness. June 1st was the official start of hurricane season. So this is the time to really check your plans. We've already had a little tropical disturbance over in the Gulf. Make sure your insurance coverage is in place for your homes, for your personal belongings inside your home. Your important documents are all together in case you do have to leave or if there's a flood, that you have them secure in a safe place. Water, supply of water, non-perishable foods, items. Make sure you have radio, batteries, and any medications. Sometimes too, you know, when you're in a rush or if you have to leave or you didn't renew your medications, make sure you have a supply of that on hand and cash as well. And make sure you check on your neighbors. Right now, there's a 6% sales tax holiday the state of Florida is doing for emergency preparedness that runs through June 9th. And the state of Florida did authorize some household items as well. Sunscreen, toilet paper, paper towels. So now's a good time to stock up on those too and save the 6%. The second thing I wanted to cover was I read a case that just happened. It's going to come out in the June next month for the June report, but I thought it was important to mention it. I don't think I've ever brought it up, but as you go through your journeys in life, sometimes you have people that you care about that come in your life, and you could have a moment of sickness or a health condition that you give power of attorney to someone in your life. Maybe that person doesn't stay in your life and kind of cycles out of your life, and then when you do pass on, there's a valid open power of attorney that's in force, and your family comes to take care of what needs to be taken care of, and now your family doesn't have the ability to take care of your needs because there's a power of attorney that was issued that's in effect for someone that may or may not have your family's best interest in mind. So please, you know, make sure that you review all those important legal documents, your wills, your trust account, your trust, how your trust is set up, and especially any power of attorneys, either for health or financial decisions. You want to make sure that they're placed with the right people at the right times in your life, and that you review these documents ever so often to make sure that one's not in place, and God forbid something happens to you, your family comes in, and now they're locked out of taking care of your wishes. So just be aware of that, please. All right, so for the traffic report, we'll go into that. It was a mild month for the village. We did 24 traffic stops. We wrote 37 citations, and we issued 10 written warnings. There was 4 accidents, and one of those was a hit and run. It was minor. Our calls for service, we had 215 calls for service, and 31 cases were reported. And for our cases of interest, not a lot to go over, but again, the number one issue was fraud. So the first fraud case I'll talk about was a victim attempted to call Best Buy for computer repairs and dialed the wrong number. So she gave her debit card information over the phone, and it was used to purchase $800 in gift cards. So her loss was $800. In Southampton, B, we had an unknown suspect open a checking and savings account in the victim's name, utilizing a social security number. The bank caught that in time, no financial loss. East Hampton, A, we had a victim received a text message alerting him of a washer purchase. He called the number in the message, and the subject was able to gain access to the victim's bank information. Again, talking to people you don't know over the phone and getting tricked. Unknown financial loss. And then in Dover C, I was actually approached by the victim involved in this case, and she wanted me to make sure that I mentioned it to you. She was attempting to log into her Amazon Prime account and called an 800 number to help her log in. The subject on the other end of the phone instructed her to download something on her cell phone, and he gained access to her bank accounts. The loss was minor, but still a loss, $198. And then she told me to tell you it was life-changing because now she has to change her bank accounts. She has to check everything, check her credit history report. She's on the phone, making sure that her identity wasn't compromised in other financial transactions. So just be aware of that. I mean, something as innocuous as you're trying to log in your Amazon Prime account and you get a pop-up on your computer or maybe a prompt on your screen. You have to be very, very careful. If you have a neighbor or your friend, run it by somebody. If you're not good with technology, ask a question or ask somebody before you get on the phone and you start giving all your sensitive information to someone you don't know. One stolen vehicle, but it was kind of like, relationship kind of thing. Victim's vehicle was stolen by an ex-girlfriend, and it was used in multiple auto burglaries in Coral Springs. So the vehicle was recovered, and Coral Springs Police Department is investigating those cases, and I don't think that they're going to do too well. We had one vandalism. Victim's vehicle window was smashed, and nothing was taken. That was in Sussex K. That's all I have. If anybody has any questions. Okay, I know you have a busy delegates meeting. I'll let you go to that. Oh, yes, ma'am. I'll repeat the question, so don't worry. Go ahead, ma'am.
Deb?
She asked a question. She said she thought that a power of attorney would die when the person dies. It depends on the legal document and how it was executed. So in this particular case, the case that I read about, the individual passed away, but the caregiver used the power of attorney to register his car in her name and to start doing financial transactions. So now we're looking into it, but at the end of the day, it's going to depend on what that power of attorney, what kind of power was vested in that individual. And, for law enforcement and for state attorney's office to come in and look at that, it's still going to be considered civil in nature until we can unwind everything that took place. So it just complicates things to have power of attorneys if they're not with the right people who are supposed to take care of you. Any other questions? Okay, all right, that's it. We'll see you at 1 o'clock. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
We've added 2 microphones to the back, so the people that are in the back, if you have something that you would like to say or respond to, there's a microphone on either side, so you don't have to walk all the way up front. I need a motion on the minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes as presented?
Yes, it was failed to mention my comments on the roads and getting some humps put in. Thank you.
All right, we'll check that out. Ed, you had a...
Yes. First of all, I think the minutes are incomplete in regard to several situations that happened at the last Delegate Assembly. One of which, and this is just from memory, I believe I read in its entirety Richard Handelsman's review and statement with regard to the purchase of CDs, and I said I'm reading it, so it should be included in the minutes. I don't see it. Secondly, the fiasco that happened at the end of the meeting is an abortion, and in that particular situation,
Ed, you're out of order.
don't tell me I'm out of order. You said is there something that's not in the minutes. There is an absolute rule that the minutes of a meeting is a legal document, and absence of pertinent matters have to be in the minutes. And so I'm respecting. Are you overruling what the law in Florida is? I hear nothing. This is not unusual. So I think what was unusual was what happened. And if you recall, I said that the statement that was read by Donald, which was forwarded to Donald by Rod Tennyson, is not in writing. I requested a copy of it. Nothing happened, and what happened is the meeting was usurped, not only by you, but by Donald, who I believe has crossed the red line. So these minutes are incomplete, and according to Florida code, are not legal. So I request that these minutes be amended and represented at the next Delegate Assembly.
Need a motion.
Somebody like to make that motion for him?
Seeing none?
I so moved just to get it done.
Do we have a second?
Name, please.
Do we need your name? You got that? Okay. Should he put it?
I don't believe that that remark in the addition and correction of minutes is up to a vote by the Delegate Assembly. It's the responsibility of the secretary, and we can review the tape and see that that was the case. If you
We
insist.
will do that, Ed.
Well, right now, you're asking for a vote, and that's out of order.
I'm just asking if the delegates feel that that needs to be amended.
Quite
Since you
frankly,
feel that
that's not a decision for the delegates. That's a Florida law,
Okay,
and failure to do that is a serious offense.
okay,
Noted.
noted. No, we're not going to vote on it. We're going to wait and amend the minutes for next month. Okay. Al Plotnick from the COPs would like to make a quick report.
Good morning, everyone. Our COP group in the village, first of all, is growing. We now have 9 members driving the car, and we put in over 100 hours on the road. So we have a little bit extra security around. That's just the note that let you know. One other thing that I would like to let the body here know, another scam that's going on, it's on the telephone. It's called a one-ring scam. Your telephone will ring once, and you go to pick it up, nobody will be there. You look at the phone number, it's something you don't recognize, or what has been done, somehow you'll see your phone number there, a call coming to you from your phone number. Now, you take these phone numbers and you say, well, I wonder who called me, and call back. That phone call can cost you a lot of money, because once you call back that number and they answer it, that number is usually in some other country. The area code might look like it's in the United States, but a lot of these area codes are outside the United States also. So just to let everybody here know, if you get a one-ring phone call and you don't recognize the number, just forget about it and just play it safe. And if it's somebody that wants to talk to you, they will leave you a message. So just be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Okay, we're going to skip around a little bit. At this time, I'm going to ask Donald Arcam to go ahead with his report.
Good morning, everyone. I've been directed to give the following report to the Delegate Assembly.
Hold on a second. There's 134 delegates signed in, so we have a quorum. Thank you, sorry.
Okay. All right, I'll start from the beginning. I've been directed to give the following report to the Delegate Assembly. On May 3rd, 2023, I received a complaint from a UCO staff member. The substance of the complaint was that the staff member had been verbally abused by Ed Grossman, who used obscene language and had been physically demonstrative to the point that the staff member felt unsafe. I reviewed security footage from our cameras and determined that the complaint was founded. I sent the report and the video recording to UCO President Dave Israel, who directed me to forward both to UCO attorney Rod Tennyson. Attorney Tennyson described Mr. Grossman's behavior as reprehensible and expressed concern that the incident put UCO in a position of legal liability. Attorney Tennyson recommended that, per UCO bylaws, a motion to censor be sent to the UCO Delegate Assembly along with a report, and a motion to censor Mr. Grossman be read out at the meeting. There is a copy of that motion to censor in your packet. On May 24th, at an executive session of the UCO Officers Committee, the officers heard my report, reviewed the video recording, and consulted with Attorney Tennyson. After discussion, the officers voted without objection to approve the motion to censure. On May 25th, at an executive session of the UCO Executive Board, the Executive Board members heard reports from the manager and the officers. After discussion, the board voted without exception to approve the motion to censure. The motion to censure is included in the Delegate Assembly agenda package, and this concludes my report.
Thank you, Donald.
All right, I can
Yeah,
move forward
yeah.
a little bit. All right, so basically what goes on here is, in order to move the motion to censure, which by the way was written by our attorney, a delegate would need to rise and so move. There'd need to be a second, and then there will be discussion followed by voting. Assuming we have a motion and a second, there'll be discussion. The discussion will begin with reports from some of the officers here. To confirm my report, they have all watched the video. I'm certainly able to answer any questions. I just want to be clear that since this is not a closed meeting or an executive session, we're going to be extra careful with names, and we're going to be sensitive to the people involved. Okay? That's all I got. So moved by Bobby Levin. Is there a second? Seconded by Joyce Reese. Okay, we are now in discussion, and I'm going to ask that any officers that wish to make a comment first, go ahead. And Joanne, something tells me you should go first, because you're going to be busy.
My only comment is that I was there when the particular incident that we're talking about happened, and I was in another room, and it was very serious and not the first time it had occurred, although this is the first time this person has brought a formal request for action. That's my comment.
Stuart?
One of the charming and comfortable feelings that I get living in Century Village is that virtually everyone is cordial and civil to each other. I was brought up in a family in which women were put on a pedestal. Never in a million years would I ever use foul language, no matter how angry I got, to any person, especially a female. And this was reprehensible, and it was scary, and it should not have happened. No matter how angry you get, you have to still be civil. When we get people coming into UCO and they are really upset, one of the first things that I tell them is smile, which relaxes you. They're able to go ahead and present to us their issues comfortably without getting excited. But no one in this audience should ever be attacked with this type of language and physical threatened. That's it.
I listened to the tape, and I fully confirm that I agree with the movement. Thank you.
Why can't we listen to the tape?
Good question. I'm glad someone asked. I was waiting for that. Because of the sensitivity to the staff member that we're trying our best to do here, and this is not a closed meeting. There are others besides directors in this building. Some of them are not even unit owners. A decision was made and agreed to with our attorney that we would not show the video on the big screen in a theater. That's just a bit much. However, that video is part of the organization's records. Any unit owner, never mind any delegate, can request to see it along with any other documentation, including communication with our attorney. Just come see me, and you can privately look at all of that, okay? If you could give me a call first, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, Olga. Okay.
We are asked to vote for censure of Mr. Grossman. We do not know the details. It appears that we're only obligated to take the word of the officers that something happened. We also do not know if an individual antagonized Mr. Grossman to do what he supposedly has done according to the officers. Thank you.
Delegates, just as an aside, Olga just made a comment. I just want to point out that Ms. Wilkenstein did not vote against the motion to censor and did not raise these questions in the executive session of the executive board. I think that's kind of important for you to know.
Excuse me, but at the executive board, I was not given the opportunity to vote against it. That wasn't the way it was presented, and my hand was not up. Thank you.
Hi, Joyce. Joyce was at the executive board.
Come up to the mic. Go to the mic.
Go ahead, Joyce. Take your time.
I was at the executive board. Everyone voted unanimously for the censure. We were offered the opportunity to see the video by going to see Donald, just as you were offered to see it. My feeling was what I heard, and I trust the officers, and I trust Donald, who we pay, and the officers who we elect to go by what they say. And there's no reason for everyone to see this. It's disgusting. That's my opinion.
Joyce, I would tend to agree with you, and I've also, in workplace complaint situations like this, we have to be very careful not to hold the complainant up to undue embarrassment.
Come up to the microphone.
That's basically what we got going on. Hi, Marilyn. Why don't you move up to the?
Okay.
Marilyn is suggesting that everyone speak closely into the microphone so that she can hear you.
So,
Which now I realize why you guys are laughing.
okay. Just as a next point of explanation, the reason why it's being brought up to the delegates, because the delegates elect the officers.
Correct.
And you, as the delegates, voted this individual in, and it's up to you to take this motion forward.
Right. According
According to our bylaws, we're following procedure. Officers, executive board, and delegates.
Right. You, the board of directors, oversee the officers. The officers, in turn, oversee me. And that's the way it works. So that's why it's in front of you now.
And like we said, if anybody wants to see it, anyone to hear it, just make an appointment and come down. But we've gone through legal counsel. Think about that. An attorney has given you something to chew on. So it's up to you. You have a motion and you have a second. Yes?
Ken, just come to the
Come
mic
up to the microphone.
so Marilyn can hear you.
Was a restraining order placed against Mr. Grossman?
Negative.
No.
Why not?
I'm not sure I understand your question, Ken.
Why wasn't a restraining order placed against Mr. Grossman?
I'm not aware that the complainant made any
Such request.
request to the police or to the state attorney's office. That would be the complainant's job to do.
Okay.
It could be done for all I know, Ken, but kind of outside my scope of work. Anybody else?
Yes, me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't enjoy more that this has gotten to this point. I couldn't plan to get as many people in. I find it very important. I was advised, don't come to the meeting. Well, the answer is I mowed my life under certain people, and one was Harry Truman. And Harry Truman said, for those of you who remember, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen.
All right.
I find it reprehensible that closed meetings were held in an executive session. What's to hide? If you have the chutzpah and you think you're right, bring it to the fore. Now, I heard one or two comments that make sense. One of the things I follow, so it's a little more clear, is Man of La Mancha. Man of La Mancha had three main characters: La Mancha, Dulcinea, and the carrier of the... Right, excuse me.
I know.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. La Mancha knew exactly what his goal was. I know what my goal was. Dulcinea, the prostitute, knew what her goal was and spoke up. I feel that if you're going to censor me, where is the complainant? Someone said, do you know the background? Well, you don't know the background. You do know that nothing was ever done on the nonsense that's gone on this stage. Now, Cato, who was in the Roman Forum, said, Carthage must be destroyed. Well, what I feel is that this is a railroad job.
Ed.
No. You had meetings without me.
No, we didn't.
Well, we don't see the complainant here. And you keep saying Ed and Ed.
Ed,
There's
you
only
were
two people-
zoomed into the meeting, so don't say you weren't invited. You were zoomed in to that meeting.
Zoomed in, schmoomed in. My wife has been in the hospital
This is quorum killer.
for weeks.
All right.
And that takes precedent. In fact, I wish he was here.
Call a vote.
But
We're going to
what
call
I
a vote.
feel-
Ed,
No, excuse me.
Ed,
I'm talking, you're interrupting.
I'm telling you, your 3 minutes are up.
I don't
Okay?
give a damn.
And
what
we're
you
going to
say.
take a vote.
You're going to take a vote?
Hold on.
Where
I'd like to
is
say
the
something.
jury? Here. Where is the complainant? Not here. Where is the person that's being complained to? The defendant. Me. This is totally illegal. And let me tell you, on a little research, I was told, well, this is being brought up because of protecting Yuko.
Okay, Ed.
Now, let me finish. If
Ed,
you don't want to
no.
let me finish, get
Ed,
off the damn stage.
Ed.
No, Ed.
Ed.
No, Ed.
Let me.
Ed
Ed.
has the opportunity, and you see it here again, that we are being railroaded.
Excuse me, Ed.
You voted for me.
Ed.
Don't say Ed.
Ed.
Stop saying Ed.
Ed, no.
Mr. Grossman to you.
Okay, Mr. Grossman, could you tell the delegates the day that you put your fist in my face that came through an open door?
Let me tell you
Excuse me.
something.
That
Let me tell you something.
Excuse me, Ed.
No,
Mr.
no, there's
Grossman.
no excuse for what's
Mr.
going
Grossman,
on. You
you
can vote
showed-
what you want,
Okay.
but
I think I'm going to call the
No.
vote. Does anybody have any objection to this?
Yeah, I'd like something to say.
I
All
don't
right.
care
All right,
if
Ed,
everybody in this room had an objection because you're not being put on trial without having representation and the accuser here. There is no place that I know that you don't get a chance.
Okay.
Delegates, I'm going to-
I would like to say this.
Ed,
No. You would like to do a lot of things. You disrupted the meeting. You've done it 3 times before. I am here.
I'm trying to. There you go.
May I say something?
Yes,
first?
go ahead, Bob.
All right, guys,
Okay.
before this gets out of control, and before Fausto asks to call the vote, I'm just going to make it clear what's in the censure motion. It's very simple. The motion says that the behavior is unacceptable, it shouldn't happen again, and there should be an apology. It's that simple. There's nothing else in that censure motion. Mr. President, I'm going to ask that you call the vote now.
All right. Could you let Bob, please finish your statement, and then we'll take a
okay.
vote.
Look, I'm only up here because I resigned my position because I got tired of some of the things going on at UCO. All right. Ed,
Just talk, Bob.
Ed, could you let me talk? Please? Could you let me talk? All right. Now, while I may agree with the censure, the motion to censure, all right, and I did not see the video, but I've seen enough of his actions before. Mine were, at times were just as bad. So my resigning, God bless you all. You all needed me out of there anyway. So, Ed, I think what you're trying to do at UCO is a good thing, but you're doing it wrong. You asked, let me finish. All right, you asked me to go on your committee. That's one of the reasons I did not want to go on your committee because.
Bob, I'm sorry, but we're going to keep the
I think you were
discussion
doing
and
it
the
wrong.
comments
All
to
right.
the matter at hand, okay?
I'm just trying to calm this.
All right, so we're done, Bob. All
We're
right?
done.
Thank you, Bob.
Now,
We're gonna vote, Bob. No, that's
his
it.
saying that you turn around and cross the line. You've done it a few times with me also.
Good.
I'm
Bob,
just leaving it at
That's
that.
it. Thank you,
Thank you
Bob.
for your comments, Bob. All right, now it's
How
time
many
to call the
how many
vote.
delegates have
I
left the
rest
room?
my case.
Okay.
I just want to remind you that you are being asked to take a vote to censure somebody when you do not have the details. Think about that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Also, I'm resigning from all committees. This is now official.
Ms. Wolkenstein, you're...
I'd like to say something, please.
Yeah, go ahead, Stu.
Nobody in this room should ever be threatened physically and 4-letter words used to describe what they're doing. If you feel that that would happen to you, how would you react? Would you be frightened, especially when the person is using physical
Motion, arm motion.
hands and so on? Look, this behavior stinks. Nobody should ever be faced with this. No, I'm angry because of the fact that this is kind of smoothed out. It should not be. We at UCO believe in civility. This was not civil behavior, period. And no one in this room should ever be exposed to this, period. And I don't care which way you deal it. We would not bring this to you if we didn't think it was important.
Take a vote.
Let's call the vote.
All right. We're going to be using your clickers.
null and void.
Well,
I think if you're going to vote, have the chutzpah to stand up and cast your ballot. So don't hide under the desk. I'm standing here.
Joanne,
we're going to give you, we're going to give you 3 minutes to push your clickers, yes or no. Push your clickers, yes, no. If you're not sure how to use your clicker, on page 2, it explains how to use your clickers. Jesus Christ.
all right.
Take it. I was worried.
Point of order to the chair's Kevin Hackett from Berkshire H. We are allowed to abstain also. Hello? I hate to interrupt you on the dais there, but we are allowed to abstain also. Choice 3.
Should,
A yes or no is the only choice here?
you can abstain if you...
You could abstain.
Well, you announced twice, yes or no. So we can abstain, correct? Thank you.
Okay.
All right. I see an abstain 3.
Figure 3 minutes. If you get 5, it'll be 2 more. Is that all right?
Say again?
Yeah,
Okay. Sorry. All right. Thank you.
While they're voting, you want to bring up about the water thing? Well,
No, I want to establish quorum.
okay. Well, they're not going to be voting on it, so you just...
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
But while you're voting, we're going to, Donald will explain the second part, which is the proposal of the development of the golf course and the use of the South Canal. You're not going to be asked to vote on it. You're going to have an entire month to read it, review it, and if you have any questions, bring it to the UCO office in writing or email it to Donald.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Okay.
For the past several months, UCO's attorney and the attorney for Coulter Land Group have been negotiating an easement agreement for the new development of Reflection Bay on the golf course and its impact on Century Village, and particularly the South Canal in the south part of Century Village. We thought it would be prudent to give you the final draft of the agreement this month, so you guys can read it carefully, bring it back to your boards and your membership, come back with any questions that could be passed on to our attorney. More eyes on this document, the better. There's also a report from our attorney who negotiated this draft in your package. You could read that carefully as well. I'm not going to go into any details about the agreement, other than there are 2 points where there is historical drainage between the old golf course and our community. And that drainage is going to continue. What the other entity is looking for is a memorialized drainage easement. This would include the redredging of the South Canal, and half of the cost of that would be borne by the other entity, Coulter Land Group. There's also some quiet title problems that need to be straightened out, and the other side's going to take care of that as well. So I'm not going to ask for any questions or answers now. It'd be better if you guys all read it over the month, and then either in the interceding months, send them in, and we'll get them answered for you, or just bring it to the next meeting. And the next meeting, you'll be able to vote on it. All right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Make sure you read Rod's paper. Rod explains very thoroughly the whole process from A to Z. And that should answer most of your questions. But if you have any doubts, we're available.
Yeah.
And we would welcome any questions that you have, that if we miss something or the attorney missed something that you think we could benefit from, we're here. That's why we're giving you a month to review it.
All right, delegates, it appears that the motion to censor has been approved. I'm going to be very blunt here. I don't want to hear anybody clapping. This is nothing to be happy about. All right, this is a serious matter, and I'm glad it's behind us. So let's just move on with our agenda, Fausto.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go with the officer's report. I'll start with Dominic. Oh. Hold on, we'll turn your mic back on. Yep.
Okay. We know now that we're in the hurricane season, and if you're in a building that you know is more than 10 years in the past where you had a new roof put on, you're going to be surprised if you're going to sustain the winds of the upcoming storms. So if you have time and can gather enough money between your renters and so forth, get it a new roof, shingled, and you'll be able to withstand the winds of the storms. Otherwise, you should look for a public, trying to think of the word, shelter. Yes, that's an important thing. A lot of you can't ride out the storm in the building as it is now. And that's all I think. Be careful and try to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominic. Stuart.
Pardon, I was just annoyed and angry before, so I'm sorry for getting so angered over this issue. We have a lot of rain coming in our direction in the next few days. Please close your windows.
David Boaz.
Nice to see everybody again. Nice turnout. Don't forget, if you have meetings coming up and you elect new officers, to make sure that you bring in a new delegate and officers form. If you don't have one, they're available at the UCO office. If it's just one change, you still must do the entire form. We don't accept changes. The whole form has to be filled out. And I want to thank Donald for keeping on top of the dumpster situation. And I also like to thank those people that put their bulk trash out on Tuesday so we can see it all week. That's very kind of them. But Donald does a very good job at that, and also prompting the management companies to take care of this problem. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Joanne, our star.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I just want to announce that we do have a new and upgraded telephone system at the UCO office now, and we did this primarily to improve on the guest entry system, which had been very unreliable in the past, and especially with hurricane season being here and the wet weather being here, it was going up and down, and so we've replaced that. Anybody that has any problem with the guest entry system going forward, please call the UCO office and let me know. I can get on it right away. We can make sure that that system is bulletproof. We don't want people to have any problems having your guests and your contractors, et cetera, coming in and out of the village as you want them to. So other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you, Joanne. Miss Ruth.
Good morning, everybody. If you look at your packet, you will see the UCO reporter, profit and loss, through April, I believe, where it shows we are ahead $2,382. I was able to get a further report through May 21st, 22nd, and we picked up another $400. So we are now $2,782 ahead, which is very good. But we still need ads. Keep looking for them. They help us a great deal. All I can say is Happy Father's Day. happy Grandfather's Day, although you grandfathers get a second bite of the apple because Grandparents' Day is on September, I think it's the 10th, the first Sunday after Labor Day. So everybody have a good holiday, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you, Ruth. I will. There's a lot of people that are looking for their insurance flash drives. If you have Seacrest or one of the major maintenance companies, they have picked up your flash drives and they will make sure that they're brought to your buildings. If you don't have Seacrest and you have not received your insurance flash drive, come into the office and see Mike and pick it up. Okay, good. Donald, you want a second?
Hello, everyone. Sorry about the drama earlier. Back to the potholes and dumpsters. This coming week, you're going to see the paving repair crew at various sections of Century Village, so just be aware of that. Trucks, dump trucks, whatnot. Week after that, you're going to see painters painting the roofs on the 2 guardhouses. The reason that we're coating these roofs are because over time, with weathering and scrubbing, the stone roofs have become porous and they're picking up pollution, black, more frequently. So we're hoping that by coating the roofs, giving it a hard surface, we'll be able to clean them less and not have to use a scrubber. That's all I have for this month. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has. Thank you.
All right. That's it? You're done? That's it. All right. Ed, you want to talk on your report?
I was silent when we were talking about the potential contract regarding the former golf course. What has been omitted in this particular draft is that this may not be all everybody's thinking about, because this could very well be a taxable transaction in which, where we think we're getting a gift, you could wind up with a negative cash flow. I ran that by Guy Strum, and I requested Donald to get a report from Mr. Tennyson, but better yet, a tax attorney.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, but we haven't got it. So,
Ed,
it would be nice to know, when you're contemplating which way we're going, that you would have that information. So I assume Donald will put it out, whether it's from Mr. Tennyson. However, I don't know, not being negative on this particular issue, that Mr. Tennyson is a tax expert, and this happens to be a very, very major transaction, which once made will affect the future of next door and here.
Okay, Board, just for your knowledge, Mr. Grossman brought this question to me yesterday. I think it's a significant question. I can think of no one better to frame the question than a licensed CPA, which Ed is. I've advised Ed to frame the question himself, get it to me, and we'll get it out to either a tax attorney or another CPA for an answer. It's actually a good question, Ed.
Well, Donald, if you don't look at anything but your email, because my typing isn't terrific on sending messages, but I proposed the quandary to you right after we spoke and gave you the outline. So what I would suggest, if we're talking something that could be forever, the real answer should come from the Internal Revenue Service, and we should get a determination. We're talking could be taxes in the amount of over $300,000. And quite frankly, from what I know, how could we have something and negotiate on something where we don't own it all. So let's go to the financial report. The financial report shows a continuing loss of between $25,000 and $30,000 because we don't get enough information to do a valid budget. We do the best we can. And where does this shortfall come? The shortfall comes from the enormous increases in the insurance. And as I've been advised, and you may have been, you ain't seen nothing yet for the coming year. So I'd be more than glad to go through the details, but basically, we're losing in the neighborhood of $30,000 to $35,000 a month. Of course, a lot of that could be made up by the purchase of CDs. Anyway, that's my report for today. And just so you know, I will review in detail what Mr. Tennyson said, what your vote came out, and we will see what the future will hold.
Do we have any unfinished business? Anybody step up to the microphone, please?
I try to raise my hand before, but it was pretty heated in here, and so I figured I'd let it cool down. But I do want to make a statement on the situation that's going on. You could see the frustration on Ed, and he was elected, so there are people that believe in him. And as far as our volunteers, I could see the frustration because I got frustrated every time I come in there and ask something, and I don't get a proper answer, or I get an answer, talk to your attorney, which costs money, and they have their attorney, so I try to funnel it to their attorney because it's a question, just a simple question, and on what to do with our board on a state form or simple stuff. So I understand Ed's frustration, and I also am really upset because I'm seeing people like Bob resign, the other lady that came up to resign, and that's not the answer. The answer is to stick in there and just try to work out things, because if we have these people resigning and not getting involved, it's not going to get any better for us. It's going to get worse. So I asked the board to please, I asked everybody, they're all gone, I asked that this be put in the minutes that there is the problem and we want it resolved for the people to stand up and not be afraid of being targeted, like sometimes I feel by standing up here or going against the board, you're going to get targeted. So I have reason to think that. I've been around, I've been on the board, I've been kicked off the board, I've been put back on the board. So I know what I'm talking about a little bit as far as that's concerned. But I do want the cooperation to go, because without a cooperation and without people's support, and even if they go against the grain, they have to stand up. Like Bob said, Ed may be right, but he's doing it wrong, going about it wrong. And it's the frustration, and I just wish that you get the word out to the people to stay involved. Don't get frustrated. Don't close the doors. Get involved and do constructive stuff. And I asked the board that when I come in, please don't tell me to see my attorney.
And I would add to that, step up. Step up to serve on these committees. Step up to run for office. There's not quite enough of that going on, frankly. Ma'am, to your question, and I believe this goes back to a discussion that you and I had in my office. Go see your attorney. You should really take a good look at the UCO bylaws. When UCO was set up, it was put in that we are expressly prohibited from interfering. I'm going to finish, ma'am. To interfering in the internal governance of these constituent associations. We're not allowed to give you advice. It's also not a good idea. Each association should have their own attorney. We realize that this costs money. It costs us money too. But it is a reality of running a condominium association. And we really want you to get the right guidance from someone who knows the specifics of your association. And everyone has a different specific, all right?
Just to respond to that, I didn't see my attorney. I'm not going to pay an attorney to ask a basic question of information that you were requesting to fill out a form on the older people. It was a very simple thing. I'm not going to pay an attorney.
Well, you're talking about the HOPA census. That's
just this incident. This is my answer all the time. Mm-hmm. But to let you know, I got the information. I just had to reach out to the older people. 2 years ago, they stopped doing the form. So for free,
Correct.
I got the information from them, which is something you could have told me.
If your board thinks that's a proper way to deal with a matter that involves federal law, that's up to you. Self-governing is the that's enough, ma'am. Thank you.
Well, I would like to. You're supposed to be there.
Have
to
it,
guide us.
come into the office and talk to Donald directly.
Yeah, we could have this conversation privately. Glad to do it.
Right. All right. Is there any other unfinished business? No. Okay. Niels, would you?
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Niels.
So I'm here on behalf of Palm Beach County Mayor and County Commissioner Greg Weiss. He unfortunately couldn't be here this morning, but he sends his regards. Wanted to make sure that we're represented here, so that's why I'm here. If anyone has questions, come see me after the meeting. One thing to share, you've probably heard about artificial intelligence, right? It's come a long way. It's crazy. I mean, it used to be just spell check, right? Now, with ChatGPT, which is the newest AI thing, we actually use it in the office. It's amazing what it can do. It can. I had it write a speech for Greg the other day, and it was actually a good speech, and it did it in like a minute. It's crazy. Anyway, so artificial intelligence, or AI, really has the potential to transform, local governments and how we deliver services. So much to our delight, the National Association of Counties started a artificial intelligence exploratory committee, which is made up of 15 county leaders from all over the United States. And they asked 2 people to lead this group. And one of them is Greg Weiss, the County Commissioner Greg Weiss. So Greg has been tapped to lead the AI Exploratory Committee for the National Association of Counties to explore kind of like what AI can do for local government, and also, of course, talking about the guardrails, because in the wrong hands, this powerful tool could also do a lot of bad things. So that's what I have to share. I'll be around for questions if you want to find me afterwards. Thanks.
The gentleman from Brian Mills. Thank you. We have Keith McIntosh from Ann Gannon's office.
Good morning. I will be very brief. As you all know, this is hurricane season, so our office has, sorry if everybody can hear me, our office has recently published our annual hurricane guides. It contains all the information on how you would best prepare for a hurricane, important phone numbers, items that you should have in your hurricane supply kits. So if anybody wants a copy of a hurricane guide, I have plenty of them with me. Or if you need anything from our office, I would be very happy to help you after the meeting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good of the order. Anybody have anything they would like to talk about, share? All right. Yes.
We have a lot of hurricane guides in the office. A whole new set was brought in yesterday, so please come on in or send somebody from your association, and you could take as many as you want to distribute to those people who are here. It's just kind of a way of checking off all the things that you already know that you have to do, and maybe one or two things that you have forgotten about. And so this should really be of help. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm John Hess. I'm the head of CERT here.
Talk into the microphone so they could all hear you, John. Thank
Yeah,
you.
hello. Speak into the microphone, all right?
That's it. Tilt it up
Okay.
a little bit.
Okay, my name is John Hess, for those who don't know me. And I'm the head of CERT. That's the Community Emergency Response Team. And we are basically in charge of, after a hurricane, is search and rescue and recovery mode. And we ask each association to be part of that program. And we have asked for a representative from each association to call in after a hurricane to let us know the status of all the individuals in your buildings. Our main purpose is to make sure that everybody's safe. If they need any assistance, any medical attention or whatnot, we want to make sure that they get it. And we're just asking the associations to help us to help them. And out of the 309 associations, I've got 15 associations that have no representative at all and have no idea or any desire to help. And then I have another 15 or so that it's questionable as to who is actually the representative, because we've asked each president to assign somebody or talk somebody into taking that position. And some of them decide, well, I'll take the job on myself. Well, then come to find out, the president might be in Canada or Maine or somewhere else, and they leave for the summer, so they're not any help there. So we need residents that are here all during the summer, so we can keep track of our residents. Mainly what that representative is to do is, before a hurricane, identify who is staying in the building, and then after the hurricane passes, make sure that they're still there and that they're okay, and then report that to our headquarters, which would be in the UCO office. And the information's been distributed before. It's been in the UCO paper, and it's like preaching to the choir. Most of the people here really comply with it and help out really well, and the ones that don't are usually the suspects that don't show up. So I want to thank everybody for their help so far. And right now we got a tropical storm, so to speak, over in the Gulf that they're anticipating to go south and hit some strong wind shear and dissipate into nothing. However, Mother Nature will do whatever she decides to do. So be alert, pay attention to your weather reports, and kind of heed what they tell you. Take the warnings to heart. Sometimes they might be off by a mile or two, but they're pretty good. They've done a good job of predicting so far. We've been lucky the last couple of years. We've had just near misses, and keep saying our prayers, and we'll have more. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, John.
Is it on?
Yes, it is.
Hi, my name's Rick Corson. I'm with Windsor R. And I just wanted to bring up an item
Get
for discussion.
closer to the microphone, please. I'm sorry. Thank you.
I wanted to bring up an issue that I haven't been able to get an answer for. So I moved here 2 years ago. 3 years ago, I contracted Lyme disease on a camping trip, and it in the chronic stage. Well, when I first moved here 2 years ago, there was a sauna in the men's locker room. My doctor's orders is to sit in a sauna for 15 minutes per day. I'd like to know when that's going to be opened back up. I realized there was some really strange problems going on, people burning leaves. You know, I could make a suggestion, cameras or something like that. But I know I was a general contractor for 27 years and in New Jersey, and that could have been fixed 8 months ago. And it's one of the amenities that was in place when I purchased my unit. And that no one has made any attempt to put it back.
We're going to give you an update, sir. Go ahead, Donald.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Yes, just so you know, the saunas are going to return. It's going to take some time. This has to be done correctly. This is done by the management of this building, WPRF. There's a bidding process. There was some decisions to be made as to the type of equipment. But my understanding is that this is a go project. They both will go on. I don't have a date when it will come back.
But it is coming back.
Yes,
Absolutely.
we were just told 2 days ago
Yep.
that they're going to take good parts from the ladies' sauna to fix the man's sauna. Okay?
So to speak.
So, yeah, to be able to make it functional while they replace the ladies' sauna, and then I guess they will update the men's sauna also.
Thank you very much.
But it's in the works.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Jim Lebecki from Bedford G. I got a question. I think I know the answer, but I'm not sure. We got a 26-unit building, and we only have one bath, 2-bedroom place, and it's in the center. And the person that bought that wants to put central air in it. Is it possible or is it legal?
Go
All
ahead,
right,
Donald.
quick answers is yes, it's possible. Yes, it's legal. The first thing is the conversion would need to be done by a licensed air conditioning contractor. Very likely an engineer would need to be involved. There would be a permit, right? Electrical permit and also the air conditioning permit. The biggest problem on the county side is they want to make sure that the gear that's used for the new air conditioning is correctly sized to the unit. Why that affects you as an association president is that if it's not, that can cause a moisture situation that would cause mold, and mold could get to all the other units. That's just the county side. On the condominium side, what the project you're describing is an addition or alteration to the common element. Common element belongs to the association. You would almost certainly want to get legal guidance on this. Without even moving forward, you'd want to see engineer plans, you'd want to see specifications on the gear. In most cases, you would need to have a membership vote on this. This is not something the board has the authority to do on their own. So yes, so it's yes, yes, and yes, but you got to check some boxes on the way.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little bit carried away. As I look around the room, we certainly don't have a quorum, and I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
That was my next thing. I was trying to get everybody to speak that wanted to speak. We've had a motion to adjourn, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Father's Day again to everybody.
Thank you,
Mr.
everyone.
Chair,
Sure. Yes.
I'd like to invite everybody who felt I was in the right to meet with me in the lobby. This is far from over.
No problem.